Kenneth, you have a point, and you have 8 seconds left for clock chimes starting now.
Not that I really want them. I regard them as the most dreadful sounds ever to come upon my ear. They don't float or eat like the sweet side machine.
Well, Kenneth Williams was speaking then when the whistle went, and he's now jumped into 3rd place. And Kenneth Williams is in 3rd place, Andre's just behind him in 4th. And Clement Freud, it's your turn to begin again. The subject is the invention I most approve. Can you talk about that invention for 60 seconds, starting now?
The invention of which I most approve is the wheel, and a very fascinating invention it was, because first of all they thought, let's make it a triangle, and they rolled this down a hill and found...
Kenneth Williams, why do you challenge?
Deviation, it's impossible to roll a triangle.
So you can only roll something that is round. You can make it turn from point to point, but that is not rolling. It's how they got the wheel, but they didn't roll a triangle. They moved the triangle from point to point. I decide that rolling is not a thing you can do with a triangle, so it must be a smooth surface to roll. Therefore, Kenneth has a point, and he takes over the subject with 47.5 seconds left, starting now. The subject, by the way, the invention I most approve, starting now.
Well, of course, there's no question about it. It is Kenneth Williams. This invention has delighted thousands of people who would, without it, have been totally bereft. People say to me, without you, where would my nights be? My evenings, totally empty.
Clement,
you fill the space.
Clement Freud challenged you. We're just loving
we
it.
had 2 people.
Yes, we did.
And without-
we had 2 peoples. People have
Oh,
said
things
this.
deviation, because I'm not an invention, I'm a natural product. So you could
I know, but it was...
how any of you let it all go on for so long.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell
I'm
you
a natural product.
Kenneth,
I miss you. You see, I
quiet,
miss
Kenneth,
you.
quiet for a minute. I'll tell you exactly why they let it go on.
Why?
Because you made such a point about your fascination. They really
that's
felt
true.
they should give you a chance to go
Yes.
on your feet. And you did.
I let it go because his mum's sitting in the front row and nodding.
And if this was television, the producer would now whip the camera onto her at this particular moment to show that she was thoroughly embarrassed about what her son was saying at this moment. Anyway, the subject is the invention I most approve. It's back with Clement Freud to get another point, and there are 33 seconds left, starting now.
So then they tried with a square, pushing it along an incline, and not very fast did it move downwards. So...
Derek, why did you challenge? Not quite. He was coming towards that moment of hesitation, but didn't quite achieve it. So Clement has another point. There are 23 seconds for the invention I most approve, starting now.
They trimmed off the edges, put on a hubcap, invented spokes, and there was the wheel rolled.
Derek Nimmer's challenge. Why? Yes, that's right. Yes, you've had invented more than once. Derek, you have a point. You take over the subject of the invention I most approve. 17 seconds left, starting now.
The invention of which I most approve is the single yellow line. I find it absolutely fascinating when I go out of my house in the morning and there I see a great long slip of yellow net.
You couldn't get away from it. Clement, you challenge first.
Yellow.
Yes, that is correct, yes. So, you said yellow more than once, Derek. Clement, you get another point. 3 seconds left for the invention I most approve, starting now.
Circle came later.
At the end of that round, Clement Freud again increased his lead over Derek Nimmo, who increased his lead a little over Kenneth Williams, and Kenneth increased it a little over Andre Mellet. In that order, they are still at the end of that round. Kenneth, it's your turn to begin again. I paused because I wasn't quite sure what it is. The thought of you, it's the snark. Can you talk about the snark for 60 seconds, starting now?
I believe this is an imaginary animal. It occurs in the title, The Hunting of the Snark, and I understand it's written by someone called Dodge or Lewis Carroll, as he was titled on purpose of authorship. And this whole thing had its beginning in the idea of diverting the young. It certainly never succeeded with me. I infinitely prefer Gibbon or John Motley to this much. But I believe with many people it has achieved kind of popularity. The explanation.
Derek Nimmo, why do you chat? Yes, yes, he did. Yes, he's very much alive. And Derek has another point, and there are 23 seconds left for the snark.
What's always fascinating, I think, with thinking Mr. Dodds in his Oxford college, leaning out of the window there, looking at little girls going across the grass, and all the time he's thinking of this snark. Now,
Derek Nimmo, Clement Freud challenge, why?
Deviation.
Why?
Certainly deviation is the disgusting.
There were no little girls in Oxford colleges.
that's where he saw it.
He could well have seen one out of term time. You were allowed to take visitors into the college.
That's where he
out of
saw it,
term.
when he met Alice.
I don't think he saw a snark. He might have seen a video.
Really, Alice is at it again.
No, you can't justify Clement. Derek Nimmo has a point, and there are 15 seconds left. Well, we can continue with the snark, Derek, starting now.
I bought a new boat last week, and I'm going to call it the snark. I think it's an awfully appropriate name for a catamaran, don't you? Because a catamaran has...
Audrey Melly got it that time.
Repetition cataract.
That is right, and there are 8 seconds left for the snark. Andre starting now.
This poem, which tells you how to hunt a snark.
Kenneth Williams, why do you challenge?
It's not a poem.
What is it then?
Prose.
It's poetry.
Oh, well, I've never read it. I always understood it was prose.
No, it's definitely poetry. It rhymes, with a tum-ti-tum, very much.
Oh, well, that's not poetry either then. That's doggerel, wasn't it?
Well tried. They do try hard, don't they?
No, it's certainly not poetry. It's doggerel. Doggerel, unquestioned.
Some people think it's great fun and very good poetry. And Andre Melly has a point, and she
He's not
continues with
even
love.
listed. He's not even listed in the Book of English Literature, this man. It's rubbish. It's all rubbish.
Kenneth Williams, you cannot get round me. Andre Melly has a point. There are 5 seconds left for the snark, Andre, starting now.
It is difficult to understand because in a way it is a form of rubbish writing. And when you want to...
I'm afraid that is all we have time for. I see that it is time to call a halt to this particular edition of Just a Minute. So let me give you the final score. Reading backwards, as I like to do, but I find it very difficult. Andre Melly and Kenneth Williams were equal in 3rd place. They were a little way behind Derek Nimmo, who was in 2nd place, who was behind this week's winner, Clement Freud. We do hope you've enjoyed this particular edition of Just a Minute, and from all of us here, goodbye.
The chairman of Just a Minute was Nicholas Parsons. The program was devised by Ian Messiter and produced by Simon Brett.
in Jacqueline Mackenzie in just a minute. And as the minute waltz fades away, here to tell you about it is our chairman, Nicholas Parsons.
Thank you very much indeed, and welcome once again to Just a Minute, and what a delightful looking audience you appear to be. Well, once again, we are all in the Playhouse Theatre, and we have the three famous exponents of the game, and we welcome to the programme for the first time on the distaff side to challenge these three keen men, Jacqueline Mackenzie. And the rules are still the same. I'm going to ask each one to speak, if they can, for just a minute on some unlikely subject, without hesitation, without repetition, and without deviation. In other words, without deviating from the subject. And according to how well they manage to do it, they will gain points or perhaps give them away. And let us begin the show this week with Derek Nimmer. Derek, the subject that's been chosen for you is My Cooker. Can you talk about My Cooker for 60 seconds, starting now?
My cooker is a woman, and her names are Patricia, Sybil, and Nimmo, and she happens to be my wife. And every morning...
Kenneth Williams, you've challenged right away.
He's not discussing a cooker, he's discussing a person.
Well, he is discussing a person.
Well, a person can't be a cooker. A person will be a cook. So there you are, you see.
This is a very
If you walk, you're a walker.
You don't say to her, here, you're a cooker. You say to her, you're a good cook, you are.
My children say you're a good cook, to me.
right away, I'm not going to be the judge of this because it immediately puts me in the position...
You coward, you. Get out of it.
I happen to know Derek's wife. She's a very charming person, and I don't know whether she should be called a cook or not.
She's just been,
Land order's going
she's just been converted.
She's just been what?
Converted.
To what?
Natural
Oh.
gas.
Well, we've got off to a rip-roaring start. They've all got a jolly good show. I'm now going to ask the audience to join in right at the very beginning of the show. And if you agree with Kenneth Williams' challenge, will you cheer? And if you disagree with his challenge, will you boo? And will you all do it together now? They don't think that Derek should call his wife a cooker. Is that clearly understood, Derek? So, Kenneth, you gain the subject. You gain a point because that's the correct challenge. And there are 52 seconds left for My Cooker, starting now.
My cooker is white and very beautiful in a clinical way. I often like just to sit looking at the chromium gleaming against the white background and a little...
Clement Freud is challenged.
Was he challenged?
Clement Freud is challenged.
And repetition of the word white.
I agree, there was repetition of the word white. So, Clement, you gain a point and you take over the subject. And there are 39 seconds left for My Cooker, starting now.
My cooker uses gas and has 5 points, also a grill, and beneath that an oven. Many people enjoy coming to my house because of the excellence.
Derek Nimmer, you challenge. Why?
Deviation, I don't enjoy that.
I said many people.
Can you give someone a bonus point for rudeness? All right, Derek, you made your point. You've got a jolly good laugh. I won't charge any points because it isn't at all fair, and nobody's gained anything on that. And there are 27 seconds left. Clement Freud, so you can continue with My Cooker, starting now.
Extracting an oven dish from...
Oh, Derek, why have you challenged again?
Repetition of oven.
Oh, that's right, there was an oven.
Oh, yes,
that's true, that is true.
Oven dish.
Yes, Derek, you gain a
My
point.
oven dish is not a cooker.
No,
You have
repetition
used the
of
word oven before, so that is repetition.
There is an oven beneath the 5 points.
Anyway, Derek, you gain a point for a correct challenge. You take over the subject. There are 24 seconds left. My Cooker, starting now.
My cooker is electric, and I keep it downstairs in a little room where it lives all by itself. And it is painted pale green to go with the walls, which are of a similar colour. It particularly likes me putting peas soup on top of it in a little pan, and I stir it with a silver spoon, which used to be in my mouth.
Clement Freud, you are challenged.
Repetition of little cooker, little room, little pan.
Yeah, it's a bit unfair, don't you think?
Oh, very unfair.
No, brother,
Yes,
no.
very
unfair.
But it's absolutely accurate, so I have to give Clement Freud a point, and there are 4 seconds left for My Cooker, Clement, starting now.
Frying pans go particularly.
Derek Nimmer has challenged.
Repetition of pans.
All right, he was tough with you, I'll be tough with him, so right, Derek, you have another point, and there are 2 seconds left for My
Say
Cooker.
pans.
Did you say pants before? He did say pants before.
I thought he said pans when he was putting them in his oven.
Well, it probably wasn't that kind of a pan. I think you better let him have it.
Who do you think I should let have what, Kenneth?
Well, let him have the benefit of the doubt, I think.
Who?
Derek.
All right, Derek got the benefit of the doubt. Clement said Kenneth was an absolute impartial observer. So there are 2 seconds left, Derek, for Michael for starting now.
The North Thames Gas Board.
In this game, whoever is speaking when the whistle goes, which tells us the 60 seconds is up, gets an extra point. In this particular occasion, it was Derek Nimmer who very cleverly got in, so he now has a lead over everybody else at the end of that round. Kenneth, will you begin the next round for us? The subject for you, knowing your knowledge of history, I'm sure, here Messrs. Choget especially, Robespierre. Can you talk to us about Robespierre for 60 seconds, starting now?
He came to the fore apropos of
Jacqueline Mackenzie has challenged you.
It's a hesitation.
It was a definite hesitation.
Wait till your turn.
She didn't on this
Well, there we are. So, there we are. Robespierre completely floored him. But Jacqueline, it was a correct hesitation, a correct challenge. Jacqueline, so you gain a point. You take over the subject. There are 55 seconds left, starting now.
Robespierre was a revolting Frenchman and started the terror, as far as I know. He became a supreme being as starting the terror. He murdered...
Derek Nimmer has challenged you.
Over terrorists.
Yes.
I was
Two
terrified.
Yes, of course you were. But I'm afraid you said terror twice. So Derek's challenge being correct, he gains another point. And there are 43 seconds left for Robespierre. Derek starting now.
I stand there in my robes, peering round the clock. Towards the marble statue in Madame Tussauds.
Kenneth Williams has challenged you. Why?
Because Robespierring is not Robespierre. I mean, it's a disgrace.
Well-
Deviation, Ducky. You can't get rid of
You can't intimidate me. You can't get me around there. He had very...
Robespierring round our colour.
I am going to justify Robespierre is the title on the card. And Derek has very cleverly taken that word and said Robespierre ring. And he put an ing on it. And this is perfectly legitimate within the rules of the game. So he gets another point. There are 39 seconds left for Robespierre, Derek, starting now.
Towards the wax model of Robespierre in Madame Tussauds. This is very interesting because the first Madame Tussauds was...
Clement Freud of challenge. Why?
Repetition of Madame Tussauds.
That's right, perfectly correct, Clement. You gain a point, and there are 32 seconds left for Robespierre, Clement, starting now.
This is the name of a French gentleman who appeared during the Revolution, doing the most dastardly deeds to people before led.
Derek Nimmer, you've challenged. Right?
Hesitation.
I think that was a hesitation, Derek. I agree. 15 seconds left for you with Robespierre starting now.
One of my nightmares as a child was imagining that this fellow had come to see me on a dark night in July. I've always thought it'd be awfully nice to live in the time of
Clement Freud has challenged. Why?
Hesitation.
There was no hesitation. He kept going. No, it sounded very strange, but it wasn't hesitation. He said, awful guy. The audience, I don't. Was that hesitation, audience? No, it wasn't hesitation.
No good answer.
Why not?
Here we can see the muscles moving, can't we?
Well, so can the audience. They've got as good a view as you, Kenneth. There are 7 seconds left for Robespierre. Derek, starting now.
Yes, well, often Robespierre's friends went out and sounds Colette with
Clement Freud, you've challenged. Why? Oh, it's a mistake. I'm sorry. He's trying out his buzz. It's not working. No points scored. There are still 5 seconds left for Derek to continue with Robespierre starting now.
means not having your knickers on. What used to say to those...
Why have you challenged?
I've resisted. Deviation.
Yes.
I've not come into a load of filth.
All right, I'm sure the Robespierre...
Underwear on a program like this, and people fan the audience. Underwear? They don't come here to hear a load of stuff about underwear.
You mentioned the word underwear. In other words, you don't think the
Well, I
Robespierre...
won't use the word he's using, have I? Precious.
Am I to understand, Kenneth? In other words, you don't think the Robespierre ever wore knickers? All right, I agree with that, Kenneth, so you have a point. And there are 2 seconds left for Robespierre, Kenneth, starting now.
Who's ever so shifted, they left off. Those are the famous words.
Well,
That was French, that was.
I'm glad you told us, we weren't quite sure. At the end of that
speaking when
I'm in the lead, so I'm in the lead.
No, you're not in the lead. Shut up for a minute. But he has got 3 points now, alongside Clement Fraud's fraud. Clement Fraud's freed. Clement Freud's 4. And Jack just behind them. But Derek has a very definite lead at the end of that round. Clement Freud, your turn to begin. The subject is rather aptly at this moment that I should have to say this: concealing mistakes. So, Clement, would you talk about concealing mistakes? 60 seconds starting now.
The best way of concealing mistakes is not admitting to them. For instance, if we were to walk down a street, say 187 yards on a moonlit night, and suddenly pass a lamppost and say to it, "Good evening, police officer," and the lamppost doesn't reply, you would then
Derek
be
Nimmer, why
entirely
did you jump into the
justified
lamppost?
in...
Yes, we've had this lamppost more than once.
Yeah, but it was ever so good. I was
We loved it all, and we loved the lamppost.
Missed a treat.
You missed it, yes.
Well, you're very keen at the game, Clement. Get back in again and finish the story. But as chairman, I've got to award according to the rules of the game, and that is a repetition. So Derry gains a point, and the subject, 40 seconds left, starting now.
An awfully good way of starting afresh and concealing mistakes is turning over a new leaf. I'm always trying to do that, particularly when I'm speaking French. Je veux te servir ton méval, je veux être ton amant. It's something which Kenneth Williams would awfully like to say.
Turning over a new leaf has nothing to do with the subject. The subject is concealing mistakes. Turning over a new leaf is another subject entirely. He's deviating. He's been deviating all the time. And as that robe's peering round at you,
I wouldn't go on about that, because you think that was unfair to you, but a lot of people might think that's unfair to Derek in giving Robespierre's knickers back to you.
I don't want his knickers. I'm sure I keep bringing it up.
You've got a point for that. You've got a point for that. And a point for speaking when the whistle went, so you actually had a slight bonus there. Though he did actually say something about turning over a leaf and concealing mistakes, and went on about something to do with concealing mistakes when he was talking French. All sounded very odd, but he didn't deviate from the subject of the card. 30 seconds left for Derek Nimmo with another point to continue concealing mistakes starting now.
Well, when Kenneth Williams makes a mistake, he shouts everybody down.
Kenneth Williams, why have you shouted?
Deviation, I have nothing to do with concealing mistakes. I am the most obvious mistake. Obvious.
Look, will you answer me truthfully? Did you say that just to give us a little entertainment, or was it a serious challenge?
No, all genius is a mistake. I mean, if you're of the herd, if you're common, then you're ordinary. If you're uncommon and extraordinary, then you're a mistake. You see, and I'm a mistake.
Well, I'm afraid the audience love you so much, they can't think of you a mistake in that way. All that happens is Derek gets another point. There are 27 seconds left for concealing mistakes, Derek, starting now.
If you are a member of the fraud squad, that is set up by the...
Jacqueline McKenzie, your challenge.
Hesitation.
Yes, I agree, there was a hesitation on that occasion.
Well,
Jacqueline's, you take over the subject, you get another point. And there are 21 seconds left for concealing mistakes, starting now.
Well, it's impossible to conceal mistakes on this program because everybody appears to be inventing the rules.
Derek, number one, you challenge.
Not always concealing mistakes, not at all.
I disagree. I don't think you often do conceal your mistakes, so Jacqueline McKenzie has another point.
Jolly good.
And there are 16 seconds left for Jacqueline to continue with the subject, starting now.
So on this program, the thing to do is to behave.
Derek, number, you've challenged again. Yes, I'm afraid that's true. You see, this is the trouble, Derek. You came in and she got another point, and now she has to start again, which is very difficult, so she used the same word again. No, it's quite true, though. It was a correct challenge. You gain a point. 13 seconds left, Derek. Concealing mistakes, starting now.
Chartered accountants gain for this a great deal. They examine the books of large companies, particularly if the police ask them to, and go through them most carefully. And
Clement Freud, why have you challenged?
Deviation.
Why?
The police get us.
That's very true. How right you are, my goodness.
Oh, Kenneth, keep quiet for a second. It's got nothing to do with you. It is quite possible, you know, that the police could, in a certain situation, ask a chartered accountant to look through the books. It might not be the chartered accountant for that firm, because they might be wishing to check on something, and they ask another
You make the
independent
whole of
chartered
English
accountant.
life sound like a French farce. You make up all this certain situation.
The way you play this game sounds like a French farce on occasion. No, it is possible that they could ask a chartered accountant to look through the books.
In Robespierre's knickers, I know.
That's who didn't like saying the word. There are 5 seconds left for Derek Nimmer to continue with the subject, concealing mistakes. Derek, starting now.
Board of Trade also often are asked to look into and examine
Jacqueline Mackenzie, your turn to begin. Oh, what a wonderful subject for your first one round. How I feel at this moment. Now, can you tell us, Jacqueline, how you feel at this moment, starting now?
How I feel at this moment is succinctly deranged, faced by these three gentlemen who are determined to put me off everything I attempt to say. I would like to take a more substantial evidence of my sensations. It can be approached in two ways. From the outside, which I would like to ask Mr. Nimmo to help me to do, as he is next to me, by touching me objectively, while I continue subjectively with...
I'm sorry, Jacqueline Mackenzie, you challenged yourself.
Well, Derek Nimmo was deviating.